Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather, and on this channel we like to walk a very fine line between a shopping addicted makeup monster and a responsible adult with a makeup hobby. Now, I really enjoy eyeshadow singles, duochromes, multichromes, blush, highlight, lip gloss, basically everything except pressed glitter, and today we're going to be doing another purchase or pass. I haven't done these in a hot second, but I just felt re-inspired to do them after seeing some of the stuff that's getting launched recently, and I have opinions. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick with me. We're getting into it right now. So this particular video was started and popularized by Samantha March, so her information will be down below as always. This look is actually from a basic beginner's makeup tutorial that I filmed, and I will also have a video coming out that talks you through a step-by-step guide for what to pick up to get a starter makeup kit. So if those two things sound like something of interest to you, or maybe friends or family, feel free to share those videos with the appropriate people. Now, let's get into the purchase or pass items that I want to talk about. The first one is the Mikayla and Glamlite Paht 2 collection, and when they sneak peeked her kind of waving her little green nails across the screen, I was like, if this is not an emerald green palette filled with gold glitter, I am going to freak out. And thankfully that's exactly what it is. The actual color story I do think is really pretty, although in the bottom three rows where you have the green row, the kind of pinky purple row, and the blue row, I feel like the mattes that you have in the second column, the fourth column, and the sixth column, I'm not sure you necessarily needed 3 shades to create that gradient. I think if you just used some blending skills, you would have been okay with just 2 shades there, and they could have put some other shades in. But they chose 3. We'll let it at that. But I do think the actual color story looks really pretty. I think it would be very complimentary to the original palette, and I will very likely pick this one up. Number 2, this is the Lethal Cosmetics 1-Up collection, and it is a little video game box themed makeup palette. It has, let's see here, what do they say? 3 UV reactive neon mattes, 3 classic mattes, 3 triochrome metallics, which are their multi-chrome formula, and 3 duochrome metallics. The cost is $38. I actually think that's a pretty decent price for the fact that there are 3 multi-chromes in that palette and then 3 duochromes in the palette. I probably won't pick it up. I'm not a huge fan of these wonky shaped palettes, so for me that's already a point against the palette itself. Plus this sort of green, blue, purple, pink, I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot of that because we've already seen a lot of it, so I think we're going to be seeing even more, in which case I don't think I need to pick up this one. I think I have some other things in my collection that already kind of mimic this color story, so I'm going to pass over that. The price though is really good. Uoma Beatuy is doing a second collection for the Make It Black campaign, which, if you don't recall, is the campaign that is trying to bring more awareness to the Black community and Black artists, Black creators, and so a lot of their proceeds go to this Small Business Impact Fund, which helps support small businesses that are run by people of color. And so they have a palette that's $44 and some lipsticks that are $24 each. I love the concept, and so I wish I loved the actual colors more, because if I did, I think I would 100% pick this palette up, because I really, since they did the first collection last year, I was like, I need to get something, and then everything they released, I was kind of like, I don't really like any of these things. So I didn't end up getting anything because I just felt silly, buying things that I knew I wasn't going to use. And that's how I feel with this palette too. It's absolutely beautiful, and I'm sure the finishes on these shades are stunning. I like the Uoma Beatuy formula a lot, the new formula that they have, but I just don't think I'll get enough use out of it. And the lipsticks, I mean, they're pretty, but they're pricey. I mean, $24, and their colors I either don't need or already have way too many times over, so I'm gonna pass over those things, but I'll definitely keep my eye out to see if there's any other Make It Black products that come out for a part 2. The next one is Gourmonde Girls Cosmetics released the Radioactive palette and the Galactic duochrome palette. Galactic duochrome is 6 shades. I kind of feel like for a topper palette I want a little bit more variety, so I went ahead and skipped over that one. The Radioactive palette definitely speaks to me. The only trouble is I have some other palettes from some other brands that do duochrome palettes like this, that I feel like this one might be a bit redundant for the shades that I have, and it's $52. So for me, it's I don't want to buy repeat shades just because I really like the brand. So I'm going to wait to see what else they release, and if they're releasing more palettes with these duochrome formulas in them, I'm sure there'll be one that I end up picking up. The next one to talk about is Copacetic Cosmetics, and Panda Replay did a collab, and I think they've done collabs before. I think they had a quad, and I want to say there was like a highlighter, and then there was like a makeup bundle that had like face and eye products in it with her, but now she has her own 9-pan palette, and it is so pretty. She's got some like pinks, some purpley shades, some greens and blues in there. It looks like they all go together very harmoniously. The cover art for this is like so pretty. I can't even believe it. I don't know if she did that artwork or if somebody else did it, but like whoever did it was like knew what the heck they were doing. Very beautiful. I don't have a price on this palette, but I do know that it's already available for purchase. Very pretty. I just don't think that I need this one right this second, but I may consider picking it up in the future for the like lilac-y shades that are in there. Very pretty. Periwinkle lilac. Emme Cosmetics is releasing 2 tropical palettes. One is more of like your warm tones, and the other one's more cool toned. They're about $43 each US. They're $55 Canadian. I really like the cool toned like green, blue, purple palette. I've definitely been drawn to colors like that recently. The only trouble for me is there's not a lot of depth. It's all very like mid-tone. So I think I'll probably skip over them ultimately because I don't need that many like mid-tone shades right now. I need something with a little bit more depth. Alright, Jolie Beauty is releasing the Etherialty palette, which is so beautiful. The packaging is gorgeous. The inside of the palette is really pretty as well. The left like 3 columns of the palette actually kind of remind me a lot of the Alma palette that was released by Amy Loves Makeup and Amy Hearts Beauty. That was like a whole scandalous mess. But the left 3 columns of this palette really kind of give me that vibe. And then the right 4 columns are just this very like swampy greens and blues. It's very pretty, but it's $58, and I think there's at least 4 pressed glitters in there. So I'm kind of like, I wish there wasn't pressed glitters because I just don't care about pressed glitters like that. And Jolie Beauty's website, it's kind of hard for me to tell what's pressed glitters and what's not. So I'll be passing over that, but very pretty. Wicked Sisters Cosmetics is releasing the Ceremony eyeshadow palette, which is a 9-pan palette, 3 mattes and 6 shimmers. That's all like metallic gray tones, and this really caught my eye. When this first came out, I was like, maybe I need to start doing the purchase or pass videos again because this is something worth talking about. And then I saw the swatches, and the swatches make the metallics look very satin, like they look very subtle, very soft. And me, I like bold, I like bright, I like colorful, I want it to be in your face. So this I think is just too soft for me, but I do really think that the actual like color story is very pretty. The 2 metallic like gunmetal-y silver blacks in the first column speak to me so much. Like that is like the color I'm on a quest for right now, is that like sparkly black. So if you have any recommendations for singles or palettes that have a really good sparkly black in them, I'm gonna need you to write them down below. Alright, this is the only fragrance I think I'm gonna talk about, but this is the Phlur. I don't know how to say this brand's name. I should, because I have a scent from them already, but this is called Missing Person. And when I read it, I was like, the true crime person in me was like missing person, nobody's used their credit cards in a month, or like what are we talking about here? And then I read the description, and it's supposed to be like you physically missing a person, like the verb missing of that person, not adjective missing person like on the milk carton. And that kind of brought it down for me. But the notes are skin musk, bergamot nectar, sheer jasmine, fresh cyclamen, Neroli Blossom, Orange Flower, Sandalwood, Australia Oil, Blonde Wood, and White Musk. So it sounds like something that would be like kind of a clean citrus floral, which I think would probably smell really good. The travel size is $26 and the 50 ml bottle is $96. So I'd be tempted to pick up the travel size and at least see what I think of it. I do have, what is it, the apricot something or other? What is that one? Yeah, Apricot Privé, which I think does smell really good. It's a little more floral than what I was expecting. And the apricot flavor is not like that juicy, sweet apricot flavor. It's like, I don't know if I would call it like dried apricot. Or maybe like apricot wine. Like some type of like altered apricot flavor. But it smells really good. I do like it. Alright. Next up is the Colourpop and Jasmine Chiswell collection, which when I saw this sneak peek, I was like, old Hollywood glamour, like Colourpop's gonna do old Hollywood, I'm there. And then I saw the actual products getting launched and I was like, I'm bored. The palettes themselves, there's two 5-pan palettes. One is more like neutrals with a pop of blue, don't need, and the other one's just like pinks with a pop of like brown, I guess. It's, I don't know, kind of generic, and I get what they were going for, but I just don't love either of those palettes enough to actually purchase them. The lip kits are cute, but I really don't need them, so I'll probably pass over all of that. And then this was the thing that I was like, no, we're going to talk about this. Physicians Formula ruined the Breakfast Club by collaborating with them and creating 3 lipsticks, which all look virtually identical, and a face palette that is so light, so dusty, so ashy. I don't even think I could use it. Like, I just don't. It's so faint and fair. I am absolutely not impressed by this at all. I really, for $18.49, I don't understand what the heck they're doing, and I wish they would stop. The end. Urban Decay is doing a Naked Wild West mini, which is really confusing because that palette got mediocre at best reviews so far, and now they've made a second version of it. 50% of that second version is still dusty, crusty white shades. I don't get it. I don't think this was necessary at all. I don't know who was asking for this. Maybe this palette was selling better than any of us knew, but I don't think it was. Pass. Colourpop also released the Palm Spring collection, which is this really pretty like blues and orange palette, and then some lip products, some eye pencils, and some face highlights. Basically, everything I can kind of ignore except the palette. The palette I do think is pretty, but I do have the Mar palette, which they released a couple of years ago. That was kind of the like blues and kind of orangey browns. So since I already have that one, I don't really feel like it's necessary for me to pick this one up. In addition, I just picked up this little Wait and See quad from Colourpop, and the fact that I have that Apricot You Not palette, those two things together kind of give me the same purpose. So I'm going to go ahead and skip over all that. Disney collabed Lilo and Stitch with Wet n Wild, and they created an eye palette, some eye pencils, sponges, travel cases, a bronzer palette, brushes, like one of everything. Merchandising, one of everything. And the only thing that kind of caught my eye was the bronzer palette. It had like 2 matte toned bronzers and then 2 more like shimmery bronzers, which I thought was really cute. All of this stuff showed up at Ulta like recently, and the bronzer palette is the only thing that's not there. So I don't know where you have to go to get this bronzer palette, but I'll probably skip over it because once you put too many obstacles in my way, like I'm not fighting for makeup, you know what I mean? Like I have makeup, so if you make it that challenging for me to try to get it, I'm probably just gonna skip it. The next one to talk about is the ABH Nouveau palette, and I do think this one is really pretty. It kind of reminded me of the original Oden's Isolmon palette because of that like lilac type shade that's in there, and then everything else being quite neutral. I think the promo pictures really make the colors look a little bit more rich and interesting than the actual palette does itself. I've watched several reviews which kind of get people like 50-50, and I just don't think, although I'm very drawn to this palette, I do think that the way that it looks in photos is better than where it looks in person, and I don't think I really need it, so for $55 I'm gonna pass. And then the other thing that we definitely needed to talk about is the Profusion and Jurassic Park collab. Now, I was kind of interested in the palette, but it's enormous and expensive, and it has 5 enormous pressed glitters that sit over top of the eyeshadows when you close it. There's no like protective covering, so immediately I was like, I can't do it because I don't want to be like brushing an eyeshadow into my eye and then get like glitter slicing my eyelid. No thank you. So I decided not to get that. I did pick up one of the liner palettes, which I started trying to use actually earlier today, and when I went to go make a look with it, it was just being such a nightmare to use that I finally just gave up on it and was like, no, we'll try that another time. So that one, I'm kind of like 50-50 on it. I'll let you know my thoughts later when I'm done trying it. And then I picked up 3 of the metallic like eye topper things here. I have 3 of them. The packaging, 10 out of 10, super cute. The actual colors that they picked, also super cute. The problem is the formula is very, very sheer and it doesn't dry. Like, I put it on the back of my hand and I let it sit for almost 30 minutes while I was doing my eye makeup and getting my face done and everything, and it still wasn't dry. Like, I could still run my hand down and streak the glitter further down my arm. So I don't know how many hours you have to let that sit out before it actually dries down enough that you can blink your eyes without creasing everything. So those, I would say, are a pretty big no. Then Morphe did a 35A Up Till Dawn Artistry palette for $27. I'm definitely kind of drawn to this pink and green. Like, that's been a real popular color combination recently, pinks and greens. And I did swatch some of the shimmers of this palette in Ulta the last time I was there, and they were actually really like nice and buttery. But I just don't ever use these enormous Morphe palettes. Like, I buy them and then I never use them. So I'll probably avoid buying it, but there is a part of me that still wants it. If they could do like an 18 pan version of this palette, I would definitely buy that. And then the second to last thing I want to talk about is the Unearthly Cosmetics in the Dark palette. They're actually relaunching it and they've revamped it. So originally it was in a PR box where you had to buy a highlighter and a lip gloss as well. And then they since got rid of that and now they just have the palette individually. The 2 shimmers, I think they got some feedback saying the shimmers were really similar, so they reformulated them to make them a little bit more different and interesting. I actually think I like the original palette better. This like remade version of the palette doesn't strike me as exciting as the original, so I think I'll pass over that, and thank goodness, because I was trying to figure out how to justify buying this $52 box of makeup for literally just one palette. Thankfully I'm done with that. And then the last thing to talk about is Clionadh. Clionadh announced that they're going to be doing an expansion of their stained glass collection, and they have over 40 new shades coming. I cannot wait to see the swatch videos. I cannot wait to prepare my wish list. Like, I am going to be going ham sandwich on that. I cannot wait. I think a big volume of what they're going to be re-releasing or like expanding is the glitter collection, which is actually one of the most affordable segments of their multi-chrome collection, and some of their most pretty, honestly. So I will most likely be picking up a second one of their magnetic palettes that looks like that, and very likely picking up a lot of new shades. I cannot wait. So with that said, I think that is everything for this video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go. Let me know in a comment down below, what are you planning on picking up in the next few weeks, and I will catch you in my next video.